Okay, hello and welcome. It's been a while since I've put anything on my YouTube, and just recently I thought, why not? Let's give it a go and add some more content to my YouTube channel and do something a bit more creatively or challenging. Creative challenging. So welcome if you're watching live. If you are watching a replay, leave a comment, let me know. Like I said, this is new. I'm normally live on like Insight Timer or in my private Facebook groups, but we're going to give this a go. So the last couple of weeks I've been saying I really want to challenge myself, but I wasn't sure how. And then part of our homeschooling today with Ella, we wrote a whole heap of little like limericky poem things out that were either based on a creative process or tool or color. And Ella had lots of fun. She made most of them. Ella had lots of fun writing these out. And we've printed them out. We've cut them out. We've folded them all up. And I just want to pick one out and then challenge myself. So I have no idea which one we're going to do. And so I've got no tools ready. I've got no supplies out because I have no idea what I'm making. The only thing I do know is I'm going to be doing something in my art, my little art journal. And I have a page that's already gessoed. And this page here that I've done nothing to other than use up some blank paper, excess paint. So I've got a page here ready to create on. I just don't know what I'm going to create. So should we see what we're going to do? Believe it or not, I'm actually a little bit nervous because normally when I do, I'm popped out down the side there. So we might use this one. Normally when I do a creative live, I have all the supplies ready and I have a concept in my head of what we're going to be making. And this is very new even to me. And I think it's going to be fun if I give myself over to the process and just have a chance to play and be challenged. So should we see what the poem is? I'm calling it a limerick, but I think a limerick is actually 5 lines, but this is 4, so I'm not sure. All right. So it says, something from nature. Can you see that? Something from nature, something aging, something on paper, something for pasting. Okay. So I need to get those supplies out. So something from nature. What's something from nature that I can grab to work with? I'm just thinking. Something aging. Well, I've got heaps of vintage papers, so I might use some vintage paper. Something on paper. Actually, no, something aging might be, I could use some like distressed ink to make it look even more aged. I've got ink here in front of me. I've got the wet ink, and I've also got the pad, because sometimes I just use the refill directly on the page. Something on paper. Well, then I've got a little bit of collaging stuff, something for pasting, which can be our glue. This was actually a very easy one. I'm wondering, should I grab a second one and see, or do I just play around with that and see what comes to me? No, I'll just play around with that. Jordan, can you rinse off that feather and bring it over to me, and I'm going to use that as my something from nature. I had a feather outside on the grass this morning and I chucked it in a bucket of soapy water just to wash it. Maybe that can be something from nature and I can paint or do something with that. All right. Something aging. So that's going to be my distressed inks. Something on paper. Okay, so let's find some paper. I actually was sent some brand new some paper in a Happy Mail. So maybe I'll use something out of the Happy Mail papers that were sent to me. Ooh, I like that. That's pretty and it's nice and aged already, isn't it? Something on paper. And there's all this vintage. I might just rip off a piece of this like this. So we'll use that as our paper. And that's beautiful. Okay. Not what? Oh, that's okay because it's going to get wet in a second with paint on it. And there's something on paper here. They've printed out some of these vintage pictures. So maybe I could cut out some of those as well. Thank you. So there's something from nature. John's like, there's still yucky stuff on the bottom. What's about to get covered in paint because I thought I could paint with this both ends. It's something fun from nature. I was actually just going to grab like a stick or something, but then I remembered that feather was just sitting there. Okay, so let's see what I can make utilizing these 3 beautiful pieces of paper from my latest Happy Mail, the feather, the distressed ink, and obviously something to glue it all together with, which will be my matte medium. And obviously we need some paints or something to paint on this as well. So let me grab my brush. I don't know what happened to my palette knife that was sitting here. Oh, there it is. Palette knife, brush. Okay. Take my jumper off because the sleeves keep coming down and annoying me. Alrighty. Let's create. Oh, hit the camera. Okay, so put my little thing there. All right, let's start by doing some aging because this is bright white and I don't really want bright white on my paper, seeing we're working with aging. And I'm not going to use the dry ink. I'm going to have fun and make a big mess with this instead. And I'm not sure. I've never done it with my fingers like this before, but we'll give it a go. So this challenge idea sort of came about for a way to try to use less supplies because I've got a lot of supplies, and the whole point was to come up with ideas and ways in which we can create with that whole less is more attitude, or like do more with less. So I really like the idea of doing more with less. And I think we don't really give ourselves enough chance to play with minimal supplies. And that's why I thought, well, instead of me just coming up with a list of things, I'm going to see whether this, oh, look at that. I'm going to hit it with the paintbrush, just plain water. Come up with a list of things each time. And I said to Ella, let's write some poems and see what comes through. And she's like, Mum, I don't know how to write poems. And I said, here, look, this is what I'm doing. And I showed her a couple that I'd done, and then how to, find creative words and rhyme them. And she came up with so many. She did such a great job. All right, so now my paper is looking nice and aged. Look at that. Okay, so now I have some aged paper. Now this is obviously going to be very wet. So I wonder if I go, do you know what? I'm going to try something out here. So what? You'll have to wait a second. All right, so while this is wet still, I'm going to attempt to remove some. Let's see whether this works. I don't know if it'll work because this is tissue. I usually use a wet wipe, which I do have right there. So I'll try it with the wet wipe. Might be too wet because normally when I do this with paint, it's quite. Well, no, that's looking. I don't want it to look, I don't want it to look perfect or pristine. I want some rustic look to it. And then I'm going to hit it with hopefully. I'm not sure how this ink will dry, but we'll give it a go. I always think that, if it doesn't work, I'll just paint over it. But I like the effect that it's giving me so far anyway. Let's try drying it. Oh, my heat gun is not plugged in. Try drying some of this off. So we've got our aging. And I really want to try as much as possible with these. And I want to do more of these. If you guys like it, feel free to also write your own little challenge out poem or lyric or something for me, and I'll give it a go. I'll give anything a go. But I want to do this more often so that I, build up the content here for people who want to see a bit more. I know there is a lot of content that you can watch on YouTube. I'm not, and I think the reason why I haven't done too much on here is because I'm actually don't like recording, editing, and uploading big videos. It's very time consuming, and a lot of credit to the people who do, because that I am not one of those people. And that's why I prefer doing it live. So I do it live, obviously on Insight Timer. I do it live on Facebook. But I wanted to do some over here, and I realized that I can do live on YouTube. So here I am. And the good thing about live is, yes, you get to watch it live, and you get to see real creative process without any edits, without, I'm not going to be able to edit out any mistakes or slip ups, or you'll be able to see how I overcome creative block. And I think I like that when I get to do it live. I get to show you the whole process. And then if you're watching this on a replay and it's taken too long, just do what I do and fast forward. Because I'm not offended by that by no means. I fast forward plenty of videos and just watch the parts that I want to watch. So that's how it works. You just fast forward the parts you don't want to see. All right. So look at that. I have a nice aged page now. I'm very happy with that. So something from nature. So this is the feather that I found this morning outside, which is ironic because I did a private hat workshop last night, and one of the ladies, the older lady there, wanted a feather. And she was saying how, someone told me that when you see a feather, it's, a message. And so she said, I wonder if it's a message from my late husband. And then a feather was literally sitting on the ground this morning right beside me where I was doing my cacao. So I was like, I need to send her a message and say, look, I got a feather. All right, so let's add some collaging. And I'm not going to collage the whole thing because I really want to be able to see those bits that I just did. So I'm thinking I might just collage in this. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But let's just have a play. I'm all for ripping and playing. Oh, I didn't realize there was 2 pages there. Oh. So yeah, I like. I'm hoping that I do it justice of utilizing just a couple of tools. I don't want to use too many things. I want to purposely keep this challenge quite simple. I really like this piece of paper, but I'm not sure if it will. I'm challenging myself to not just do the same type of art all the time as well, because I do tend to just stick to the same style of art journaling. So I really want to incorporate a bit more of my junk journaling into my art journal, and I really thought this challenge will help me do that. And I think it's going to. So I want to cut out. I like this picture here, this blue one. If you are here, say hi. I think there's supposed to be a chat box or something, isn't there? I've only ever done one other live on YouTube like a year or so ago, so I can't remember, but I'm sure there was a chat box. Oh, yeah, there's a chat box. Okay, so say hi if you are here. Okay, I like that. I like that. Less is more, Carly. Less is more. Jordan's like, I don't have YouTube. You do. It's just under my name, so you might not be able to watch it. You haven't got your own. I like these little pictures here, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to add them in. All right. Let's, first of all, something for pasting. Let's glue on this first piece and just get started, because I'm like procrastinating now, overthinking it. Okay. Just think that's going to be too big. Oh, there's two pieces of it. I didn't realize that. Okay, everything's doubled up and I didn't realize it because it just comes straight out of the envelope this morning. All right. Now that I know I've got a second one of those, I might use that, because I was worried that it was going to not have it to use again. Okay, this time I'm going to use a paintbrush because I've got a bigger area that I want to. Okay. I'm just using this matte medium gel to collage these pages onto it so that it seals on there. I must have missed a bit there. Okay. I'm just going to rip off some more of this music paper. And as I get into the flow of this, I'm just a bit more loosened up, not stressing about it as much, going and trusting this process. Okay. I really want to actually leave a fair bit of gap today. I'm not sure why. I've just got this drip. Oh, I didn't put this on there after all that. Where am I going to put that? Actually, maybe I won't because that colouring is a bit different. Okay, let's just go with this for now. Now, I want to add some paint, but I want to mix something so that it's with this ink, so I get this aged look in my paint. Actually, maybe I'll do it with the gesso. Here's my gesso. All right, so I'm just going to pop some gesso onto my palette here. And I'm not sure, I've never mixed distressed ink and gesso before, but we are going to give it a go and see whether I can age my gesso as well. What's the best that can happen? That's my new favorite thing to say is what's the best that can happen? Can't see why it's not going to work. And also we can use the gesso as pasting as well because it's like a sticky, isn't it? And it's going to paste it down. So I think that's as good as I'm going to get when it's... I'm just going to add some to my page. Especially around the edges. Let's try to blend that in a bit. All right, so because I've got my something from nature that I haven't used yet, I'm going to... I don't know if I'm going to be able to brush this because it's a bit of a... Oh, actually, that's pretty cool. I like that. Didn't think it would work, but it's working. It's going to give me that smear that I would get with my finger, but with the brush instead, with the feather. It's going to be very rustic and abstract, which is what I like. Oh, I like it. I like using my fingers as well, so I'm going to do a bit of both. And then in some of these really thicker parts or parts that are still really wet, I'm going to use the other end of my feather as a scribe. And my latest favorite mark making that I've been doing is asemic writing. If you've never heard of asemic writing, it's like abstract writing. So I'm going to, so it's writing where you can't actually see or read what it is. So it kind of looks like lettering. It almost could be described as doctor's writing, because don't they have like writing that you can't really read what it is? But I love doing the ischemic writing. So maybe I got some wet stuff here. You could just do some symbols, like you could do love hearts. This part's not really wet. What I could do though is see. This is a different type of ink to normal writing ink though. Because if I had some actual ink to dip this in, I'm trying to think of, I've got black ink, but I don't have brown ink. Then I could actually write with it. I don't think my ink pad's going to be wet enough. Let's see. A little bit. Maybe do it over here on the dry bit. It's adding some cool little marks though, even though it's not really writing properly. There's all these little bits that make up the magic of our art journaling pages. So. All right. So that's my something from nature. I liked that. That was good. Okay, so I'm going to quickly dry this with my heat gun while I work out what else I'm going to add to it. And I think because my stamp pad's out, I might add some stamping, and I'll just add, I've got a writing one that's right here actually. I might just add some rough stamping. Give this a dry. This is probably a good part to fast forward. You don't want to hear the one if you're watching this on replay. But if you're watching this live, sorry, this is the joys of live TV or live video. You're here for every single step along the way. It's quite cold here today, so it's taking ages to dry. Yeah, that's pretty dry in most of the spots now. It's just touch dry in some spots, so you just have to be gentle in a couple of the spots. All right. Oh, sorry, camera going wonky. So I've got my little stamp here. I always get this one upside down because you can't really read it properly. And you just want to add okay. Now the other thing I wanted to try is putting some ink directly onto my acrylic pad. And I've seen, I think I've done it more with distressed ink, but I thought I'd try it with just normal ink and then wetting it. Let's see what sort of effect this is going to give, because I really want to play around and add pick up some of that excess water. Definitely got the aged look happening here, I think. Doing good. It's looking good. And then I'm going to use the brush this time and add a couple of little spots of extra aging. I love how those come out. Oh, look at me trying new things, challenging myself. Oh, I really like this. No. Jordan thought it'd be nice and come and turn the lights on, but it just went too bright.
Just trying to help.
Just trying to help, I know. I don't know. It says there's somebody here. I don't know how this YouTube live works. The comments aren't showing up. If somebody's leaving comments, I do apologize. I can't see them. I want some more of that on here, though. Where'd my acrylic pad go? Let's put some more ink on it. And another dab of water. And just put some of it off. Right, wipe off my ink pad, which is pretty filthy anyway. Okay. So look at that. That's certainly something from nature, which was my feather. Something aging, which was the distressed ink, which I used both the sponge to edge the papers, the brush to add some extra to the top, some ink directly onto the paper at the start, and then some ink directly into my gesso. So there's a lot of aging going on. Something on paper, which is our little collaging pieces here, and something for pasting, which was the matte medium gel to glue it all on there. So I've definitely mastered the little limerick that Ella wrote for me today. And I'm just thinking that it just needs, it kind of, I don't know, I think it needs like a focal picture or something to make it pop. Some sort of focal picture and a quote. Maybe some mark making as well. Oh, Wendy's art studio is here. So, hey, Wendy. Thanks for coming and thanks for leaving a comment. Are you enjoying watching this? Another creative person. Her artwork is amazing. I cannot draw like Wendy can. I'm good at abstract, not so good at beautiful drawings like Wendy's. So I'm going to use my brown paint pen and add some marks. So I want to keep this the brown toning. Let's just put some dots. Loving it. I'm glad. I'm very glad. Let's put some dots this way this time. I don't know if you can see that because my hand might be in the way. All right, some dots. I really need to think of a focal picture to put on here. What sort of picture? Let's see. I'll just open my cupboard quickly and see what pops out. What have I got that pops out that might match that aging? Oh, you know what? I think. This is the only thing about doing these types of challenges is trying to come up with something on the fly when you've got so many things to choose from. I do have a whole heap of cut out pictures though, so let me see if there's something here that might work. I don't know if it's going to match the colouring. Kind of matches, doesn't it? I'm so used to doing stuff with the focal picture that even though I want to do different and I want to challenge myself, I still like the idea of using a style that I like. I like that one. It's a bit more subtle. This one's very full on, but I like that because it's bold. Which one? I'm just thinking I like these flowers. Could add the flowers onto one side and her over there. Maybe I'll do that so that I keep that simplicity, and then I've got up here for adding a quote. So let me try cutting out this picture. Let's see if I can fussy cut this picture out. So when I'm fussy cutting, I don't try to do these tiny little things. They will just get trimmed off. Same with like butterfly antenna. They just get cut off. If you struggle with fussy cutting, my two tips is to use a very small pair of scissors. So these are little embroidery scissors, small pointy sharp scissors, and turn your paper more than you turn your hand. So and it's a bit easier to get the curve that you want to get for getting into all those little areas. They're my two tips. And then ink the edges, obviously, and then it makes your paper, your picture a bit. I'm totally chopping all these little ones off at the top here, but that's okay. I'm working with what I'm visualizing. At some point, the paper will start getting annoying. I normally rip that off. But okay. All right, that'll do. So if I stick that over here, it gives me something on this side. Let's ink this. So I'm just using a makeup sponge for my inking, by the way. You can buy a massive pack of them at like your cheap shop or Kmart for a couple of dollars instead of expensive. I don't even know what they call them because I don't use them. Daubers, blotches, I don't know. Anyway, and same with this. I bought this cheap off as a makeup brush instead of a craft brush because it's cheaper when you say it's a makeup item. Believe it or not, you can buy a whole heap of them off Amazon pretty cheap too, I realise. So I'm going to put that one there. And I'm going to ink this picture. Okay, let's glue these bebbers down. Oh, just covered up the dots that I made. Oh well, doesn't matter. I'll put some more dots on there. Okay, let's glue her on. And glue this one over here. Let's go up a bit higher. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to blend some of this one in here as well. Well, not blend it, but mute it out a little bit. And it's because this is wet, it doesn't matter too much because it's going to dry all together then. So I'm just using leftover of that gesso that was mixed in with the ink. Get my feather and add some of that scroll again. That feather again. Awesome. So then kind of isn't like sitting on top. There's a little bit on top of it, but it's not completely hidden. It's just part of it now. And then this one, I'm actually going to, once that's dry, age around the edge of that a bit more as well. And I'm pretty done. I'm going to journal on this. I'll do that later on. I won't journal live. I'll journal on this later on. But I do want to add some sort of title, something on here. Actually, you know what I should do? I should put the quote or the poem on here so that I know. Yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon? The poem on there, although actually maybe I'll journal the poem on there. I'll journal the poem on there and I'll do a heading up here, heading up there as separate. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to quickly dry this and I'll show you how I age around the outside or shadow in around the outside of this picture. Again, it's going to be using one more tool. It's not on the list, but that's okay. It's still aging technique, and this is going to be done with a charcoal pencil, but a brown charcoal pencil. So I'm still staying in the realms of the brown color tone. And so what I do is I go around the edges. So even though I inked the edges of the picture, there are some parts that I still want to make pop out because it doesn't always stand out. So I'm going to go around with my charcoal brown. It's a sepia. So my brown charcoal, I'm going to go around the whole edge of the picture, but also some of the lines on the inside of the picture, like around her arm, around her finger. And it's going to make that picture pop out a little bit better. Give it some nice shading around her hat. And also across that brim there to make that line a bit more stand out around the edge of her shirt. Dropping my pencil. So now the areas that are inside are a little bit more defined and it's not lost in the shadows. So what I do then is I grab a thinner brush. It was sitting on my desk here. Yeah. So now I grab a thinner brush, and again with that matte medium, I just go around the edge and blend it a little bit so that it's less pencil and more. You can just do it with water as well. I might just do it with water. It's a bit faster. It gives a bit more shadow around the edge of the picture. And any areas that, you know, looks too pencil-y, it blends that in. Oops, I think I did around the back here over here. And then she pops out just that little bit more off the page to what she did before, just with that little bit of sepia around the edges. Any darker parts, I'm just going to blend that out a bit. There we go. All right, pretty happy with that. Okay. And something more up here, but I'm not quite sure what. I think I need something. There we go. So just added a little bit more to that corner there. And then I will figure out what sort of quote to put on there. What sort of quote to put on there? So, because I don't know. Actually, let me just have a quick look. I've got a whole heap of words, so if I can't find anything too quick, then I will sign off. If I can find something quick, I will show you how I finish off with those words. So I like pulling out words from magazines and just putting them all together. Look, there's so many words in here. Who knows? So I've got two lots of things. So I've got from the heart, I think that's going to be too big. Simple pleasures, that's going to be too big as well. All right, and now we'll look in the other little, I've got a smaller one. Again, this is something on paper because I've got all these, this whole little container of words. And I normally just go through and pick out ones that it's what's underneath that counts. That's nice. Ooh. No. I can tell straight away. No. I do most of my pages intuitively, but then I always overthink the wording. Finding something that I'm just going to grab a couple of things and see what works. More for the colouring than anything at the moment. Actually, somewhere in here, I've just had a brain thought. Somewhere in here, I've got a piece of paper that says about books. Hang on. Now that I know what I want, do you think I'll be able to find it? There's something that was off this piece here too, and I can't see the other half of it. Okay, maybe I don't have it anymore. But isn't that always the way? When you know what you want, trying to find what you want. Oh, here it is. Oh, but it's pink. If I had to choose book or film, that would have made a really cool, because she's reading. I had to choose. No, I found it, but it doesn't work. Pieces of me. A change of scene. No. Home away from home. I like that one. Home away from home it is. Okay. So, and keeping with the theme, I'm going to cut off this. Where's my scissors here? All right, let's glue that on, and then I'm done. Because isn't a book home away from home? I don't know about you, but I love reading, so I always find that it's... Oh, smudged some of my ink. Oh, well. So I'm just going to do the same with the edges of this so that my heading stands out. And then blend it so it's not so pencil-y. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Wow. Let's just add some splatters of that darker ink back into the page because there's not a lot of dark. Let's put something dark onto the page. I like it. I like it. So that's my page using something from nature, something aging, something on paper, and something for pasting. And I hope you enjoyed watching that process. Even if you fast forwarded a whole heap of it, that's okay. I hope that inspired you to grab your art journal or your junk journal or anything and have fun playing around. So I'm going to wait for this to completely dry. Then I'm going to find a brown pen somewhere. I know I've got a brown pen and journal on this. I might actually add some more mark making on here once this is completely dry, but I'll see how I go later. Thank you very much. And hopefully I will see you again. I'll say next week, but I could be on the weekend. I don't know. Whenever I get the next free chance, but it will be sometime in the next week to do another live creative video. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And if you don't already, please subscribe, and you'll see more of me and my creative process hopefully coming up. Thank you. Bye. Oh, thanks, Wendy. I appreciate that. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.